I do feel for this year, for those of you starting school, starting new work environment, starting new career paths, I do feel that there is going to be a major steep learning curves coming in for you, and it can feel very uncomfortable. And you might feel a little bit displaced because I know that you're ruled by the air element, and when something doesn't make sense to you in a rational way, it can be a little bit frustrating. Okay, so once again, the whole concept of verbalizing how you feel, asking questions, not being afraid that, of asking silly questions. If you don't understand something, ask multiple people because people might have, different ways of explaining the same concept. So you want to cover all your bases. And when it's important, like a job, like school, you don't want to let opportunities to ask questions slip you by. Um, Oftentimes, in a classroom setting, for example, a lot of people are wondering the same things, but they don't ask the question until one person asks it, and everyone is like chiming in conjunction that, oh, yeah, I was thinking the same thing. So it's one of those situations, and I feel that you are not alone in this. Okay, so the steep learning curve can be mitigated by asking the right questions, asking from multiple sources so that you have a way to move forward so that they don't become overwhelming or daunting. So those are the two main messages coming through for you, and take heed. I feel that they will help you navigate the energies for 2016. So let's talk about the quarters. So the first quarter, January, February, March. I definitely feel that when it comes to a relationship situation, a lot of you have moved on from, like, broken up with a recent relationship partner, and I do feel as well that they're leaving your life, and I do sense as well this is the first instance where if you still care about the other person, if they have never given you a proper goodbye, if they've never really properly explained themselves, it's really important, once again, ask those questions because I feel like someone is leaving your life without an explanation, and you deserve to know. You deserve to have that closure for yourself. So don't be afraid to ask the question. I do feel that there is a relationship that has been innately unbalanced, where one person was doing all the giving and the other person was being taken for granted. Okay, so it's just one of those things where someone quietly leaves in the middle of the night, and then you just you text them and then you don't hear from them. So it can play out for you or it can play out for the other person, but I do feel either way that the relationship itself was left like hanging. So it never officially ended. So if that is a passive aggressive way of ending things, be courteous as well. If this is you walking away, then you need to answer the other person and you need to tell them that, okay, this is why I'm walking away. So, getting those answers would bring closure to the relationship, and both parties can then move on and learn from their past mistakes so that they can become, better relationship partners. So that's something I feel would be very conducive for you. If you approach the failed relationship in that mindset instead, it's going to be much better for you. For a lot of you, there might be a little bit of a financial worry. I do feel for a lot of you, there might be multiple jobs that you are applying for, and you have your minds like pretty much fixated on a specific position, specific job, and I do feel that the results will come in by, I'm sensing, by March, where a lot of you might be in new positions. So I do feel that for the first 2 months, January and February, if you're applying for school, if you're applying for job situations, and you're feeling very, very excited about whether or not you got in, whether or not you landed that job, and things like that. And it's also telling me that I'm sensing there are a lot of opportunities. So the first shiny job is not the one that you should completely invest your all into. Okay, so that time period from that January to March indicates to me a lot of opportunities will come through for you, and continuously throughout those first 3 months. So keep yourself flexible, keep yourself open-minded. All right, coming in for the second quarter of the year, we do have April, May, and June. And I definitely feel this is one of those situations where we have a situation that is difficult to comprehend. And when it frustrates you when you don't understand it. And as a result of it, you're consulting multiple people, which is the right thing to do. And you're trying to get to the bottom of it. And I do feel that sometimes it seems to me like there might be a lot of distraction around you. And you're kind of like missing out on, you're basically missing snippets of a story, and you're not getting the whole picture. And I feel like that might just be why you're not understanding something. So when you're in a training seminar, for example, try to stay focused, keep yourself vigilant and alert. When you're in a classroom, for example, and somebody is explaining something very, very tedious and difficult and boring, like molecular structures, for example, in chemistry class, you start to space out. And as a result of it, you're missing out on some vital information. And then you think that, A and B are connected when in fact there is like Z in between. So just, keep that in mind. And if you know that something is boring, but you have to get through it, drink some coffee, keep yourself alert, do conscious things to keep yourself, on top of the game and keep yourself vigilant, okay? I also feel as well there might be a lot of opportunities for partying, drinking, expanding your social circle. It's understandable because it is also like a lot of you might have started new jobs or new schooling or just in a new environment, and you want to branch out and you want to expand your social circle. So there might just be, you're overextending your time. You're going out and having a lot of fun, and in at work or in school, you're finding it a little bit difficult to concentrate. But I definitely feel that the financial situation itself is starting to stabilize as well. We do have the Nine of Pentacles, and the Nine of Pentacles is a lot of opportunities for self-employment, and it comes into me as somebody who is self-employed, who takes on clients, and they have to like possibly wine and dine the clients for a long period of time before the client signs that contract. So you might just be, exerting or spending a lot of your time doing the courtship before the project falls through or before you land the project. So it's just it taxes you, time wise and also emotionally. So I do feel that it is something that we all have to make sacrifices about, but make sure that you don't spend way too much time to follow up on a lead and then they lead you astray, okay? So be very wise and be very vigilant about who it is that is a good lead, and which lead can potentially lead to a dead end. So don't overextend your time. In terms of love relationships, coming in for the third quarter, it's coming in quite strong. And I do feel there is going to be a water sign here. And the water sign are Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. And I do feel as well there is a fire sign. Fire signs are Aries, Sagittarius, and Leo. So I do feel that there is a very strong magnetic attraction with this fire sign. And for some reason, I see the relationship halting. And I feel like it halted because of financial consideration. So it could be because, that person is somebody that you work with. It could be because they have to move away for another job. So there's some kind of like start and stop energy. And I do sense as well that, in a period of like 3-4 months, they come back and then you rekindle the relationship. But then there's also that question that comes up about, where have you been? Who have you been with for all these months? And vice versa is coming in from both parties. So I do feel that it is a really good relationship, and it's coming through as something that is, it can bring about jealousies and it can bring about miscommunications already. So there's strong attraction and there's a very strong emotional connection. And this is just something that you're going to have to keep in mind when you try to do this long-term, long-distance relationship, because all of these insecurities within, all of these fragile spots are going to come up again and again for reexamination. And all of our insecurities tend to come up when it's a long distance relationship and we don't know where our partner is. And it flows both ways too. So there is a potential here for a relationship. And I do feel it might be long distance, or it might just be non-committal, but then it becomes something a little bit more. So it has the potential to go to the next level. But I definitely feel overcoming the initial, I guess, like bumps in the road would be important for the longevity of this relationship. I also feel, like I said, it's a lot of you might be, socially dating, where you're coming from like a fire sign and then you're seeing a water sign. And I want you to be a little bit careful with this water sign, because I do sense like more of a threesome type of energy with this water sign rather than the fire sign. And I'm getting as well that there is something here that you're not seeing the whole picture of. So possibly, they've got a wife and kids, something like that. There's something here. There's something to be said about the way they live their life, the things that they do for a living. Not that anybody is judging, but there's something that is kind of kept hidden. And it's hidden for a purpose. So if you are asking them questions and all of a sudden they change the topic, or there are specific topics that they're very like guarded or even evasive about, those are warning signs. So those are the red flags that you really need to keep an eye out for. Keep things very simple, okay? So going back to the initial message, say what is on your mind, and don't be afraid of sounding silly. You really need to get the answers that you need, because they do affect your life, on a very philosophical level as well. And they do affect the progression of your life. So it's really important to demand these questions. Now, coming in for the third quarter of the year, this is going to be October, November, and December. This is when your income generating potential can be very, very good. Okay, I feel like this is like what the year culminates to. We do have the Ten of Pentacles here, which indicates a very, very stable family structure. It's also a card about financial prosperity and even material prosperity in every way. So I feel that for a lot of you, this is something that, settling down, putting down roots, and having a stable relationship might not be something that was in the back of your mind. But I do feel at this point, you're looking at this ideal image and you're thinking to yourself, I see value in that. I see value in generational wealth. I see value in stability and roots and things like that. So you might be hesitant, or you might be receptive. You might be receptive to this whole idea. I do feel as well for the last quarter of the year, there is somebody that is going to be in your life, and it's coming up as somebody that you're very compatible with, somebody who is very grounded, and they might want a family, they might want to set down roots, and they might want that stability in their life as well. So just approach this situation carefully, because I do feel that they are a lot more relationship oriented, and they might just be looking for the one to marry, and without much discretion. So they might be, I feel like they might be older than you, and they feel to me like they might be someone who's on the prowl for that long-term committed relationship and marriage, because they do want roots and they don't want to go through the dating process. So it's sort of like they want the easy way out, and you might want to be careful about this person. I do feel they are well-meaning though, and I do see that they are also very, very attracted to your financial wealth. Not that they're, going out there looking for rich people to date or anything like that, but I do feel that you have a sense of stability about you, and because of it, they are very attracted to you. There's a sense of competence about you, and like I said, throughout the year, it has been a major, a series of learning curves where you're learning the ropes. You could be starting a new job. You could be starting school. You could be training other people, and there are the training manuals, or the things that you have to work through yourselves as well. So it's showing me that there are many, many things to learn. Like, you're learning the ropes, and at the end of this year, you are coming to, that top of that slope where you can start to launch yourself, okay? So for those of you who are thinking about self-employment, for example, there will be opportunities for you through the second quarter of the year, but I feel like it comes with a lot of preparation. So, all that learning curve, all the self-help books, all those study guides, of what it takes to be an entrepreneur, how to run a business, all of those things are being brought up for reexamination to help you in the process of becoming an entrepreneur and to become self-employed. So it's a steep learning curve, but by the end of this year, I feel like you're just going to take off and launch from it. And with it comes with, like, a whole year's accumulated knowledge so that you can do your job and do it very, very well.